I wanted to talk about one of the problems that I had here recently. I'm going to give a really quick summary, essentially, so you get the too long, didn't want to watch syndrome doesn't happen. Essentially, my PC started spontaneously rebooting. And the other thing that I noticed was it would spontaneously reboot anytime I was trying to get into the operating system, but it would run in the BIOS without having any reboot. And kind of poked around for a while, and the solution ended up being replacing that little CR2032 battery that keeps the CMOS configuration set up properly, and that fixed the problem. Now I'm going to go into more details on what was going on. So with this particular motherboard, I actually had it happen on two machines. It was, it just started one day, it just started spontaneously rebooting. It wouldn't run more than a minute at the most before it would reboot. And I was trying different things, pulling out, swapping video cards, swapping memory, trying to find out what was doing it. It just kept happening, and when I go into the BIOS, I noticed that it would sit there, and I could let it sit there, 30 minutes, and it wouldn't reboot. So I'm going, something's funny there. And I was poking around, reading online, and eventually I stumbled across a website where, not a website, it was a forum somewhere where somebody was talking about, guy was having the same kind of problem. And in the end, he goes, I found the solution. He goes, I just swapped out my battery, the CR2032 battery, and things went back to working. So I tried it on my machine, and initially it didn't work, but I was messing around with it. I noticed at one point in time that it popped up in a BIOS message that said something about overclocking something or other that was out of range. And I went back in and I reset the BIOS parameters, and what had happened was when that battery went dead, somehow it set one of the parameters, some kind of overclocking parameter, way too high. Just kind of errantly, and who knows what was going on. But when I reset to default settings for the BIOS, everything went back to working on the most part. So, you can give it a try and see if it works for you. It may or may not, but like I said, if it reboots when you're running the operating system sporadically, but sits and runs in the BIOS, give that a try. Pull that old battery off, throw it away, put a new one in. It's just these little button batteries that look like this, these little 2032s. And, swap a new one in, reset those parameters and see if it works for you. Hopefully that helps somebody else out, at least save me from having to buy a new motherboard. So, anyway, hopefully that's helpful.